It says that we're live.
Really? I
Yeah,
don't
it
see
says
it.
it right here. Live 25 seconds. Excellent connection.
Okay.
I don't know why it's not showing. But if it doesn't, Cassandra can post it. Hi guys, thank you for joining. This is Essence of Science, and today we're talking about space travel, specifically the moon landing. I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence. And I love this Essence of Science so much that I'm going to put it live on my TikTok as well, because I think this is one of those things that I grew up loving. And I want that to be part of as well my TikTok.
Maybe here?
Let's see here. Oh, yeah, put it there. Give me a second. Yeah.
I think on TikTok it shouldn't be sideways.
Okay. That's okay. Sometimes they do that. That's all I can do right now. It should be good. Okay. Well, space travel. That was one of my games I did as a child. I pretended our house was like in space.
Mm-hmm.
I put a bag over my head, like a space thing, and I walk like that, like like the moon landing people.
Yeah.
But why do you think when you look at the moon landing, and the people walking on the moon, they walk funny, right? They are almost like it's slowed down.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think two reasons. They have a lot of gear on them. I think it's definitely hard to maneuver and move around in that suit. That's my first guess, but I think the more obvious reason is like gravity or something.
Yeah, the gravity is one of the reasons. Like when they jump up, they don't come with the same speed down. But as well, they are like a bulky and so on. It's less about the gear than about the pressure inside. The pressure inside, imagine on the moon, there is no pressure outside.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure inside is like not exactly 1 atmosphere, not at the the Z level, but it's still enough that practically it makes it internally very rigid. The pressure itself. Try to go take like a tire of a car, try to move it around. It won't work because the pressure inside prevent it of twisting it and so on. Like if you have something with a high pressure, the pressure inside will resist any kind of motion, and that was a big
Oh,
deal.
is that why like a pressurized can is hard to open?
No, I
No?
think no, but there is something on YouTube if you want to look it up. They connect a one of those big tankers on the semis. They take the air out, so inside it become vacuum, not exactly, but almost vacuum, and outside is 1 atmosphere, not more. And then the entire thing like crashes, like implode down, and but as well, take it like a soda can that's not open, try to squeeze it.
Yeah, you can barely squeeze it.
You cannot squeeze it because it's a pressure inside. Whereas once you open up the can, it's easily you can squeeze it. Very thin, but the same thing. The astronaut in those, at least in the early space suits, they couldn't distribute those pressure well, so that moving there was really, really hard, and still is. But I think our technology has come a long way. So I was moving in my house, like like pretending to be an astronaut, slow-mo and so on. So I really love that everything has to do with the space.
I know that you were born 1 year before it, but did you ever like watch the recording of the moon landing?
The moon landing, I think it was. No, I was too little.
Yeah, I know, but did you ever see the recording?
Oh yes, everybody.
Not everybody.
No, if you haven't, you should actually, because that is one of the momentous time in the human history. And one of your question was, why could they do it then and not now?
I think that's a huge question that people ask. So, just to give you guys some background, and the first moon landing was in 1969.
Yeah.
And back then we were able to do it. A lot of people believe that we didn't land on the moon. There's a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm not one of those. But I do have the understanding that if we tried to do the moon landing today, we wouldn't be able to.
Oh, we are, if there is a will. At that time, there was a will. Now, the moon landing, it was mostly, we felt in the US, we felt really inferior
There was a lot
because,
of drama.
yes, there is. We felt inferior because the Russian, they got the first satellite up,
And
Sputnik.
and the Russians put a woman in in the space before the U.S. did.
Well, that was later, but they were ahead of us with the space um, technology. And why is the space technology good? Actually, it was mostly about the ballistic technology to be able to bring a rocket, mostly atomic bombs and nuclear weapons, taking it to the space and then bring it back on. Because if you bring something to the space, you can hit anywhere on the Earth within 20 minutes. That's all it takes. 20 minutes to 30 minutes, you can hit any point in the. And
Yeah,
so
so-
they were ahead of us, so we felt embarrassed. Now we had to catch up. Now, what you need to know, if you put all our money we have put on the space technology from the beginning of the time until now, including the moon landing, which was a big deal, is not even 10 months of our US military budget. Not
Yeah.
even 10 months of 1 year.
I was just gonna say, I wish I didn't learn that information that you just said, because I always thought that like we wanted to go to the moon because we wanted to advance technology and learn and stuff, not like just just be aggressive.
Yeah, but that was necessary then. But we benefited from that. The benefit that we got from that, half of the thing you work now. Now, space is the most hostile place. Like half of the thing you use today, the knowledge we gained to be able to build them is from our space technology, like Teflon on your pants, like the computer technology. We needed to calculate things very, very accurately. How do we, use the pressure? Lots of understanding about, how we equalize pressures and so on. And that is in the industry extremely important. So we get so much knowledge from that. And if somebody tells me, oh, why should we spend money to go to moon and space and so on? Well, just don't feed them wars for 6 months. Then you don't have to be worried about any of that at all.
Yeah, literally.
Okay? So, but the amount of the knowledge like we have gained from this space technology is what makes our today's life really possible. Now, I want to tell something that you don't realize. Imagine the Earth would be an apple. The entire atmosphere of the Earth would be the thickness of the skin of the apple. Entire atmosphere. And we live mostly within 1/100th of that. So imagine Earth is an apple, and the skin is our entire atmosphere. Within 100 to 1/10 of that skin is that habitable zone for human. That's where we live. That's all what it is, including the Mount Everest and so on, is the skin of the apple.
I read a book about the women that went to outer space, like it's called The Six, I think. And they said that it's harder to get from space to Earth than it is to get from Earth to space.
And that is very true. That is very mature observation. You just shoot your rockets the wrong way, you're marooned. Now let's
marooned.
Well, let's talk about it. To get out of Earth atmosphere, you have these boosters. You just have to go straight up. And by the way, to go to the space, every country that sent anything to space, they try to send it as south in apostrophes as possible. Why?
I don't know. I'm thinking.
Like Cape Canaveral is the southest place we have here.
Yeah,
like,
Houston.
Like France, they send it from Guyana, not from France. They send it from Guyana, which is much south. It's not about being south. It's about being closer to equator.
Okay.
Meaning that if you go all the way to down to South Chile, you don't want to send anything to Earth out of space, out of the Earth to a space from
What
South
about
Chile.
Russia? Where did Russia send it?
It's Kazakhstan, the most southern place they have.
Mm.
That's what the cosmonauts, they go to Kazakhstan. By the way, since we didn't want like the same name, we use the name astronaut for American and cosmonauts for Russian.
Cute.
That is,
I
no,
like
it's
the
not
word
cute.
cosmonaut.
It is actually just Cold War
Yeah, but I
legacy
like the
there.
word.
Yeah. So the reason for that is Earth is rotating. Closer to equator, Earth is actually rotating 40,000 kilometers every 24 hours. That's a day.
Mhm.
Okay, so you already have already, just by being on equator, you have a speed of
Don't ask me, please.
1,700 kilometers per hour. When you're on the equator, when you're in North Pole, you're moving like you're just turning. In one day, you're turning one time around yourself if you're standing right at North or South Pole. But if you are on equator, you are actually moving 1,000 miles an hour. You have the speed of a Concorde when you are just by standing there. So that speed makes you require less additional speed to escape Earth gravity.
Okay.
So you get it for free.
What about coming back?
Well, let's first get up there before we
Okay.
come back, okay? It's getting exciting. Now, you are there in Cape Canaveral or Guyana or somewhere. You have seen that they have these huge boosters,
Mhm.
right? And there's a funny calculation because let's say you want to get to the outer atmosphere and you want to send 1,000 kilograms there, right? So you need that much fuel to send something to outer atmosphere. But then you have to get that fuel as well up. Then you need more fuel to send that fuel high up, and then the additional fuel that you added as well, you
Needs
need the
more.
energy and so on. So there's a funny calculation, but 90% of what we spend on getting things up is just getting through the thick lower atmosphere. And then that's why you see that, they have these boosters and they go up and then they drop the additional boosters and then they get through the thin atmosphere. Like most of the people get already difficult if you get to like 3-4 kilometers above, which is, should we talk feet, because science should be
I think
metric. Okay, so
But I think most of our viewers are US.
okay, so about 4 kilometer or about 12,000 feet, most of the people, are still okay below it. Above that, actually, as a private pilot, I had to put oxygen on.
Oh wow.
14,000 feet, yeah. And then when you get to like 10, 20, 18,000, you definitely need oxygen. And when you get to like above 20,000, you don't only need oxygen, you need that well pressurization. So like people who go Mount Everest, which is 8 kilometer or almost 28,000 feet, you cannot go there without oxygen
Yeah.
and so on. And if you stay there, you get brain edema and you die, or you suffocate from lack of oxygen and so on, even if you're trained, okay?
Mhm.
There are very few people very few local people who are able to go there without oxygen, very few, okay? So once you get above 10 kilometer or 36,000 feet above, atmosphere become very, very thin. And that is why actually the airliners, they fly there because that's the most economic for them
Sure.
to cruise, because there's air resistance very less. And that is actually most of about 80 to 90% of the fuel we spend on going to outer space is in the first about 10, 20 kilometer or 100,000 feet. After that, there's no air resistance. It's become very much become easier to go up Now, let's say you are there, you drop the boosters, you're up there, you're still not escaping Earth's gravity. There is something called the escape velocity, meaning there is a speed, and that has something to do with the mass of the Earth. You know, the Newton's law: two objects with a mass, they have they put a force on each other, is attracting them to each other, which is proportional to their mass, and inversely and on an exponent to proportional to the distance. Okay, so it is the laws of Newton's law. So meaning that further you get, the Earth's gravity is less affecting you, but you're still falling. You have to have a speed to overcome that falling. So the falling speed and the speed you are going into orbit has to be in a thing that when you move forward, imagine this is the Earth, my fist is the Earth, and this is the spacecraft. Spacecrafts want to fall, but if your speed is as such that by the time it falls, it has moved the same amount. When it's falling, it's still same distance to the Earth. It's falling again, but it's moving forward. So again, it becomes, so you go to the orbit, so to say.
I see. Okay.
And there is a low Earth orbit where you always, not much air there, but still a little friction, so you lose. And most of a spacecraft and most of the space station and so on, they are in low Earth orbit. So meaning that every 6 months they need a little boost to go away from the Earth, because there's still a little atmosphere there that slows them down. But then you have to go very fast, like space lab or space station. It goes like, in a day, it goes like 8 times or more around the Earth.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They see 8 times that, the sunset and so on. Yeah, it's very cute. They're lucky people. Now, obviously, at that point, you see, they're falling, but then they're moving so fast. But by the time they have fallen 100 feet, they're again 100 feet linearly away, so the distance stays the same. Now, imagine you are there, okay? By the way, if you're about 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth, you're on so-called geostationary orbit, meaning that your falling and turning rotation and the Earth's rotations are the same. So if you are at the equator, you have the same view of the Earth. Obviously, if you are not in the Earth equator, or where your Earth is turning, then it's not the same. But so okay, let's say you're up there, and that part is actually the easy part.
Getting up.
Getting up is the easy part.
Yep.
So
what about staying up?
If you are like in geostationary station, you can stay there because there's no atmosphere there. You are too far away to have any things. Then there is a mid section, and mostly you don't need much there either. But if you're in low Earth orbit, there is not enough. This is still vacuum, but there's still enough molecule that slows you down. Then you need eventually some booster, because if you don't do that, you lose speed. If you lose speed, the speed that you are going away from the Earth is less than the speed that you fall on Earth. So you will be attracted to the Earth, and you crash and you burn. So, and here you have the idea how to come back to Earth. You have to slow yourself down. That's all what it is. Now, the question is now, like here, my hand is the Earth, or this is the Earth, and my hand is my finger is the something, and you're moving in this direction. Now, if you boost your rockets against that, you're slowing yourself down, then you're entering the atmosphere. But where exactly should you enter the atmosphere that you end up where you want to end up?
You have to enter it way behind where you want to end up because it's spinning.
Well, let's put it this way. Those people, when you come back, it is practically a controlled glide. It is not a flight. That like our space shuttle, they slow it down in a specific location with a specific amount of calculation, that once you slow it down, then it goes 3 times around the Earth and end up landing in
In the
mostly
ocean.
no, not in the ocean. The space shuttle. That's exactly the point.
Oh, I
And I
thought
can't
usually
do-
the people land in the ocean when they come back.
Not the space shuttles. The space shuttle come and land somewhere in, I think, in California usually. But the idea is that was a big deal, though. When we first went to space, outer space, that was a big deal. So that calculation done actually by black woman that they used to call those black women
Computers.
computers. Yes, computers. The word computer come from people,
Computing.
mostly black educated woman who could not get any other job. And there's a good Hidden Figures. Go watch that.
I've
It's
been
a-
wanting to watch it.
yeah, you should watch it. It's very accurate and so on. So we know that the colored people and people are minority even today are disadvantaged.
Yeah.
Everywhere, even in the.
That's a different podcast that we're gonna do. Is
So
racism
at that
around the
time, these educated people, they could finally go to school, but they couldn't get a job. So they would put in a room without windows, and all day long they would calculate mathematical formula, and that we didn't have a calculator and so on. And few of those people actually calculated because, okay, we wanted to send our astronaut to outer space, but then they would come back. We had no idea where they were. And 2/3, or no, actually 3/4 of the Earth is water. So they would land more than not in the water, but where? And if you didn't know where, like the whole Navy was prepared to catch them, but the oceans are big. Where do you catch them? They had no idea. So that they were scared that, by the time, they get to them, they're starved, literally starved,
Yeah.
because they could be anywhere, right?
Or like I'm just thinking, imagine if it landed in the ocean of a country that hates us or something.
Yeah, even worse. Well, for them worse, but
And probably they would take some of our intellectual property.
well, that was all concerns. So, and this, I forgot her name, but this the computer, this lady, figured out with a mathematical formula. This was few hundred years old. Applied that said, okay, at this point, if you slow it down that much, that is the trajectory it's going to take. And the area that they figured out was like about 10,000 or 30,000 square mile, but still much more manageable than the whole ocean. So what they did, they put the Navy ships around that area, that when they came back, then we could do that. They could do that. Now, obviously, later on, we had real computers, and then we had more understanding of that. We could understand it much better. Where to slow down the space shuttle for that to come down. And obviously with the space shuttle, which is practically a controlled glide, then you had some control. The height you are above the ground, it's energy. Fuel is energy. A bomb is energy. Electricity is energy. But the actual height above the ground is actually energy. You can use that energy, like any other energy, to fly. What does that mean? Imagine you are in a passenger plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're 10,000 meter or 36,000 feet above the ground. Let's say you lose your all engines, you lose everything. Okay? You have to practice. As a pilot, I had to practice that. You can use your height to put yourself on a slight, on a slope, glide slope, and use the height. By when you fall, you gain speed. That speed, you can use it to maneuver the airplane. For the regular airplane, is actually 30-1. For good airplanes, it's 30-1. Some gliders, they have like 100-1. Like meaning that if you want to come like from 10,000 feet, you want to come down to the earth in a good airplane, you can travel now 300,000 feet, which is about 30,000 yards, or about 26 miles almost.
Okay.
So if you are
Pretty decent amount of stuff.
that is a decent amount. That gives you. Now imagine you're 100.
Well, 26 miles. That's more than from my house to my work.
Yes, that is meaning if I'm in an airplane and that I lose my engine at your house, I still come and land here.
Yeah.
Okay, so but this shuttle, because it's very high, the problem is they have to lose the energy. This is important because the glide, even though it's not as good as a regular airplane, because you have seen the wings are very small and so on. But if you come with that speed, actually you're going to burn. And still, you see, we lost one of the shuttle because even they have those ceramic things on the bottom and so on. They lost one of those ceramic, and then it burned it through the whole hull and so on, and we lost the shuttle because of that. So even with that, with slowing down and so on, you still have a lot of energy to dissipate. For that reason, actually, the shuttle has to go 3 times around the Earth before it comes and lands.
Slow down.
Yeah. So, but then when they come, it's mostly a glide, and then because it's heavy, because the wings are small, it has to come really, really fast.
Yeah, and they also have to lower how much weight they're bringing back. Like when they went to the moon, they left all of their garbage on the moon.
Yeah, that is another story, but yes, it is true.
Don't you just find that disgusting? Like, how rude are you to leave your garbage on the moon? You're the first person to go there and you leave garbage?
You're the only person who call it rude.
I promise I'm not the only person. They should have thought about that ahead of time. If you go to a state park, it's called Leave No Trace. But of course, typical USA, we go to the moon first. We're putting feet there the first time and also leaving garbage.
And our poop.
All the poop left.
Not all the poop. We brought some of that back to do study on them.
Oh, okay, yeah. We would have left it all if we didn't want to do some studies.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, moon is very big.
Doesn't make it okay.
Well, okay.
Your yard is very big. Do you want people to leave garbage in your yard? But anyway.
Okay, well, that the shuttle come back, dissipate energy, it goes 3 times around the Earth and come. If they do a little bit of a miscalculation, they will end up in places that would be very, very unfavorable. So it is huge, much bigger deal to come back than go up. And this is just the low Earth atmosphere. This is not even, going to moon and back. We could do it 50 years ago because we had to win the Cold War.
Yeah. But don't we still have the tech? Like, isn't it written down somewhere? Like, you know what I mean?
Why took then risks that we are not willing to take today.
I see. So it's risks. It's not a thing of like, can we do it? It's a thing of, are we willing to take the risks?
Let me give you one example. They built one of the first electronic computer to calculate when they were going to land on the moon. They were calculating with the radar how far they are from the moon surface before they start, engines that would slow down the craft. Mm-hmm. And that would just send a signal to the ground, get it back and calculate, because you have very little fuel there. As a matter of fact, they have a ridiculous amount of small fuel to really slow it down before it hits the ground. As a matter of fact, 20, 30 years ago, there was a game that you have to simulate that program they had.
Really?
Yes, on the computer, on one of the first program on the PC, that you were coming to land on the moon and you had to use your fuel to slow down to land. If you use it too early, then you use it all and then you come and crash.
Yeah.
And so you had to, that was a game actually, based on exactly that. So what this computer, first electronic computer did is that was supposed to get the information and then optimize it. That computer broke down because it was put together haphazardly.
Yeah.
And then one of the things they did, they had to decide, what are they going to do that? Then they did it manually and they got lucky. Because, again, you have like 10 seconds or so, fuel for 10 seconds to slow down. If you're too high and slow down too fast, and then you lose that thing, and then you come and crash and die. Yeah, and if you don't use it properly, you come too fast, and then you crash and die. Yeah, and space is a very inhospitable place. Let's talk about the space, what it takes to live in the space. Well,
yeah, or like what it takes to be an astronaut even.
yeah.
It takes a special person to be an astronaut. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I am, but haven't we even sent someone who was pregnant to space?
No, I don't believe so.
I thought one of the first 6 was pregnant.
No, I doubt that, because there's something on the space that we cannot control called the the solar wind, and it's just the radiation outside, natural radiation coming from sun, and you even pilots that they fly higher, they have to deal with that higher level of radiation. I doubt they would dare to send anybody pregnant.
That's what I thought too, but maybe I misunderstood in my book.
Yeah, I think that would be really irresponsible to send a pregnant woman that we know they're pregnant up to space, because
she was barely pregnant. She got pregnant after she was selected to go to space.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, and it was a hard. I remember she was really having a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah, well,
so
to my best knowledge,
maybe she gave it. Yeah. She was 8 months pregnant when she worked an overnight shift on the Space Shuttle Challenger. But she didn't fly in space.
No, she didn't fly in space.
She just did work on the shuttle.
Yeah. That's our two different things.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, but space radiation, that's important. You get lots of space radiation. That's why you cannot be in the space too long, because the amount of radiation you get there, like going to Mars and back, with current technology would be deadly. Going to Mars and back, you get way too much radiation. I think I have to calculate it, but I think it'll be extraordinary amount of radiation.
They don't have is it so strong they can't even protect against it?
Well, no, I'm sure they can protect it, but we don't have currently that technology, because to shield against radiation is easy. You put lead.
Yeah.
But lead is heavy.
Yeah.
You have to get the lead up there.
And you need more fuel.
And then you need more fuel to send that fuel up, and so on and so forth. So it is the science is easy, it's doable, but we don't have currently the technology to do this kind of. Now they're talking about this huge rocket that can move a whole small building up there and so on. We are working on that, but so it's going to take a lot of things to do longer travel, because then we have to shield astronaut.
Yeah.
But another thing is, now when you are up there, everything you bring with yourself that's it. You have to drink your own pee. You have to literally you have a system that take your pee and take bad stuff out of it, and then you water. Even from your poop.
What about
you have to.
I'm curious about those 2 people that are stuck there right now.
Why?
Yeah, why are they stuck there?
Because I guess most of the time is, okay, let's go back to something that I always love to talk.
1 million years ago?
No, actually, 60 years ago. That's improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's improvement.
So you remember that Russian and American, we have the Apollo capsules, and that the Soyuz capsule. Not surprisingly, they looked similar. I'm not sure who copied whom, but Russian did it first, so probably American copied them first. But there is a Russian mentality that has developed over thousands of years.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's American mentality. Now, the Russian mentality is you make something work, then you start taking parts away from that recycled thing and so on. You create something with the least amount of part that still can do the job.
Simplify it,
and you stay there.
Mm-hmm.
The American, no, God, no. We build something, we add features to it. We just make it more and more complex until it fails. And then we go back and say, okay, that's too complex now. That is why India can send a craft to Mars with less money that it takes us to make a movie about going to outer space.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
literally, we spent like $120 million on that movie Gravity. India sent the craft to Mars for 12, I think 12 or 30 million, 12, $20 million. Okay. So because we want everything to be complex.
Mhm.
Okay. So Soyuz, they built Soyuz, we built Apollo. Now, in 60 years ago, 70 years ago, Russians are still using Soyuz. Obviously, we are not using Apollo. We are not using what we built after the Apollo capsule. We are not using the space shuttle either. And for a while, we didn't have anything else. So we had to rely on Russian 70, 60, 50 years old technology to bring our own astronaut down and even up. So, and that is what I tell everybody how I do surgery. If you look at my surgical field, it's a handful of instruments. It's robust. There are least amount of things that can go wrong. Whereas you have another surgery that appears to do the same job, it comes like it fills the whole room with instruments to do just the simplest thing. There are more opportunity for things to go wrong. Now, the reason we cannot bring our astronaut down is because we have to rely for a long time on Russian to bring them down. And if they don't cooperate with us, we are screwed. We don't have the technology to bring them down. So we have to beg. And now it gets even worse. And I think that is something that I think US politicians I have very little respect for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let me tell you why, though. Just out of fear of others to comply with the dumbest of dumb in our country, they brought a law that by law of the Congress, we are prohibited to cooperate with China on the space technology.
Oh, is this like an insecurity type of thing?
Yeah, it is like, it's an insecurity,
That's what
not
I'm
a
saying. Yeah, I said
security.
insecurity.
But they call it those security, but it's actually insecurity.
Insecurity.
We are by law of the Congress, we are not allowed to cooperate with China because China could do that for
Do
us.
you know what's the background on that? Like, why? Who decided?
Because they look different. And
But
some
what I'm
people,
saying-
some people in the Congress, they think just because they are different, we should not share with them our technology. Whereas I think at this point,
But I think we
it's
kind
them
of-
sharing their technology
Yeah, I
with
was gonna
us.
say we need it. Like, we have 2 Americans that we put up there,
But
and now
since,
they're
since they
trapped.
we didn't cooperate with them, this craft that Chinese have and we have, they
Yeah.
cannot match. At least we didn't have that law against the Russian, and we didn't have the case against the Russian because I guarantee you, because they look more like us than the Chinese. Just the physical appearance of them
Yeah.
is more like us than the Chinese. So even though Russia was more of a danger to us than China ever, it still is. We don't have that gut feeling against the Russian than we have against the China because they just look different, and that is how dumb our politic is.
Well, yeah, I'm also thinking about like, because it's probably, I'm assuming it would be too expensive to figure it out how to get them back, but we're spending so much money on like war and stuff. And remember when those billionaires built their own submarine and then died? And then we like spent a lot of money trying to figure out how they died. We like sent the military pretty much to go and look for it. And they chose to do that. Like, they weren't doing that to better, they just wanted to see the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
But then these people, like these astronauts, are stuck up there doing something for us.
Yeah, are they still up there?
They're still up there. And
Can
it's
you can you look it up?
I get updates pretty much every day. They're in like some Boeing.
I thought that Boeing thing was supposed to be self-contained and come back down by itself. Are they in the space station, or is it separate from space station? I don't
They're
follow
stuck
that.
on the space station.
Yeah, they are stuck on the space station. Yeah.
Stranded Boeing Starliner astronauts to phone home Friday. And like things are going wrong while they're stuck up there. They had like this noise that they were hearing, and it was their own heartbeats, or someone's heartbeat was like echoing through the thing. It's just like a horror movie. I can't believe that the US is pretty much just letting this happen.
And
It's
that
kind of
is
embarrassing.
because that, yeah, it is embarrassing. It's
It is.
embarrassing.
It's
Well, you know what else is embarrassing and happens? You see it every day. What I do, I just did today that surgery that this other surgeon could not do.
That's why I wanted to do today, just so you guys know. I wanted to do what is BMI and like the history of BMI because
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. We did a BMI of 48 in our surgery center. It was
On a patient that other surgeon refused. Not only we did it in our surgery center.
Yeah.
Patient 2 hours later is happiest person making jokes and went home after scoliosis surgery. And people here in 2024 in Minnesota give us a hard time for that.
well, people here in the U.S. in 2024 told her, "No, I can't do it," and
No,
then you
but-
just did it today.
But people who should know better give us a hard time for helping people. So you think if they give us a hard time to help patient, they're going to make it easy to cooperate
Well,
with Chinese-looking people who could help us
the
to
thing
bring
is-
our astronaut down?
Yeah, but like if you think about it from a realistic point of view, the US is very much about appearances. They're not like these patients aren't talking to the news, but this is on the news. Like
Mhm.
these astronauts being stuck here. That's
Oh,
on
those
the,
patients will be on the
Oh
news.
yeah, they will in a couple weeks, but that's different.
Now, well, let's come back to this. Okay, so we thought we are so far ahead of others that we decided we don't want to cooperate with others, and that's biting us back now. Okay, so because other people, guess what? They're smart.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the two people who made our artificial intelligence are Chinese.
Yeah.
So they're good at math, they're good at other things, and they're human. They're not really alien.
Well,
okay?
that's
So
like,
we have to start working with them. We have to be accepting. Otherwise, we will be the backwater of the world.
yeah, I'm listening to this book. This is kind of off topic, but it's just interesting to me how other animals, like the lion is not the enemy of the gazelle. You know what I mean? The lion eats the gazelle, but when a lion sees a gazelle, he's not killing the entire herd of gazelles to satisfy his insecurities. He's killing one gazelle to satisfy his hunger. But humans, we do the opposite. We try to kill off things that don't look like us because things that don't look like us are our enemies. We don't think about how we can work together because like in nature, everything is working together at some point. But that's just, I always have to have a nature tangent.
Yeah.
Actually, we all know the saying, one small step for man, one large leap for mankind.
That is actually the word of the astronaut who put Louis Armstrong, and small leap for and
One
small
small step.
step and small step for man, a giant leap for mankind.
And you know what's so funny? In my book that I was reading actually about outer space, he was the first person to step on there because he had such a small ego. The other guy, his ego was too big, so they didn't want him to be the first person on there because they knew that if he was the first person, he would make it all about himself pretty much.
Yeah, Louis Armstrong is a very interesting person, and books have been written about him and so on. He was a very mellow, well-centered, but not very much talkative person, but very interesting. There's lots of things about these people. There's a kind of people get together. Imagine you have to be focused.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be focused to the end. Like I just did a 2-level fusion in 42 minutes in a scoliosis patient with BMI 48. You have to be 48. Yeah, you have to be focused on the task. You have to know what you're doing. And guess what? Some people don't like it. They want to chat while they are going to the moon and so on. As a matter of fact, there's a TikTok I made. You should watch it. The TikTok is one of these movies, dumb movies, that there are this astronaut. They go to outer space. It's one of the alien movies. That's called Alien Covenant, I believe. Yeah, Alien Covenant. This astronaut go there, and they're all panicking. Every single thing happens. They're all, falling apart. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, who was that idiotic? Which idiot decided to put them in charge of going to outer space? Because They're not one of them comes, it's so out of herself that slides and fall and shoots the wrong way and
Oh
so on.
my God.
Yeah.
Is it a comedy movie or something?
No, no, it is not. Alien Covenant is not a comedy movie. But if you want to know the real kind of people who take to be an astronaut, watch the movie Europa Report.
And read the book. I think it's called The Six.
Yeah, yeah, and but then you see these people. They are focused on the task, even if they know they are going to die until the last second. They do what they are supposed to do because it takes a kind of person that can stay focused on that, and those are people who truly move mountains. Okay,
Yeah,
move humanity forward.
definitely read the book The Six. It's about the first 6 women astronauts.
And that is what I say about what I do in the surgery. If you lose your shit in the OR, you should not be there, except you are patient. Okay,
Yeah.
but then we put you asleep.
You're sleeping when you're doing
Yeah, you're sleeping. Don't worry about that. But if you're awake in the OR and you are losing your shit, make sure you remove yourself from that place. Okay?
Yeah.
That's not the right place for you. And here, going up is easy. Coming back down is harder. Space want to kill you in all the ways. You have to be prepared.
We didn't even talk about actually how they get prepared, like all of the different tests that they go through, the physicals, the twisting around tests.
Mostly to make sure that you perform under stress with limited resources well, and you're resourceful, you're selfless, you can perform under stress in a correct way. And as well, I think what's important for you is that you're going to drink your pee. And the toilet there, that is a question everybody asks. It is more like a suction cup that, suck up your poop. They have to
learn how to pee. They have to learn.
Oh, yeah. That means it's a very high technology thing. When you pee normally, it's just gravity take it down. There, no gravity. They have to suck it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be like, there is a female and a male pee and poop station.
Mm-hmm. And imagine drinking water.
Well, they have to recycle everything they can.
But I mean, imagine how hard it is.
No, well, they have it. Their food is it comes in a plastic tube that you push in your mouth. Water is obviously, that's easy. You just like a straw, you drink from that.
Brushing your teeth.
Brushing your teeth is important. You're not going to waste water on things. You have to have a toothbrush and have a toothpaste that you can swallow. And everything is optimized, obviously. And what I think what's as well important is that, fire is a huge danger there. Yeah. Because fire, if it happens, it doesn't spread like on Earth.
Because of oxygen.
Well, no, it's a high oxygen, but as well, it is not, gravity doesn't, contain things down, and the flame doesn't go up, it goes everywhere in all direction. Imagine a flame that would not go just up, but want to go all direction. And obviously, sleeping is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you don't have your rhythm.
They have to strap or something?
That as well, but you don't have your circadian rhythm goes really out of whack, because imagine you have 8 days in one day, 8 times to go around the Earth. And then as well, it's important that, those astronauts that go up for a long time, months and so, by the time they come back to Earth, they cannot walk. They have to be carried. Have you seen that those astronauts that went to Moon and back, they have to be carried out? Our muscle and body mass is use it or lose it. Sometimes they lose up to 40-50% of the muscle mass.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, that is insane. Now, when they come back, they have heart problem. They have a lot of problem, and so on. Yeah, they have to.
Do they die early then?
Well, I think we put them through such a tremendous amount of rehabilitation process to, I don't believe they died because of that early, but these are not regular people. We put them through a tremendous amount of rehab. But if you watch those videos, they have to be carried because they lose their muscle mass, they use the bone mass. And that's what I tell to my patient, use it or lose it. Get ambulate right after the surgery. And that's why our surgery, which ambulate the patient right away, is so much better than other surgeries that it takes for a patient really months to properly ambulate.
Definitely.
So, but okay, now you're back. The question that nobody wants to answer and everybody is avoiding is, can you have sex in space?
I haven't been there, so.
So no, that is, so for some reason everybody, even NASA, try to avoid that. They say that there shouldn't be any problem doing that. We have to have straps and so on, and you can even get pregnant, which I don't recommend because of the solar radiation. But we don't really know. This is one of the areas that, because it's a taboo and just feel uncomfortable talking about that, there haven't been enough research in that direction. But if you are going to go to Mars and back, or even if you are going to go to Mars one way, that is something that we have to answer, because
in my book, they actually said that they considered sending a woman to space not to be an astronaut, but to deal with the men, pretty much.
is that right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's what
they women astronaut. Why not send them?
Well,
in
no,
pairs?
this was before they thought about letting a woman be an astronaut. They didn't want the woman to be the astronaut. They just wanted the woman to be there for the man.
For
so
the
it's
pleasure.
it's pretty degrading if you think about it from a human standpoint. But
that
was how they were thinking.
That person still should have to be trained like an astronaut to be able just to go up.
But they weren't thinking about her being like a scientist, a doctor, like an astronaut. They were thinking about
who
her.
was that? Is that in your book?
NASA. Yeah, it was in my book, The Six.
Well, we have come a long way, I would say.
Thank God.
Yeah, we have come a long way. So I think we sort of covered it. What do you think?
I think that we covered, and I think we have. It's too much to talk about for everything.
Let me tell you this though.
Sure.
I think I would make a good astronaut, because
you would make a good astronaut.
Because I can eat or not eat for days. I can sleep very little.
You're a doctor.
I'm a doctor. I know a lot of things. But more importantly, I know a lot about computers.
Yeah.
I can fix it. I can program it and so on. And I can fix mechanical things.
And you don't get stressed out or overwhelmed. You
not
just
like
keep it
regular
inside.
people. Yeah, I keep it inside. I best perform when there is pressure. Then I get sharp laser focus sharp, laser sharp focus, and I think I perform well. And if there is a one-way ticket to Mars, I would take it tomorrow. Alone, even if it's alone. I would take it tomorrow. I would leave you all. I say, bye-bye, suckers. I'm gone.
Yeah,
I would go. And I think part of these big flights in space is that psychological thing of being lonely. And as my favorite the philosopher said, I think it was Russell, if you're lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company. Mm-hmm. I actually enjoy to be alone.
I love to be alone. It's my favorite.
Then I go to Mars and you go to Jupiter. You go different direction.
No, because you're forgetting the most important thing.
What?
I'm the last person they should send to outer space. I prioritize food extremely. Sleep is important to me. It has to be good sleep.
Oh God, you do not want to go with Amanda to outer space.
Leave me at home.
The 30 minutes after the meal time is passed, that sweet person turns into gremlin. As a matter of fact, for a long time, I had your middle name in my phone, Amanda Gremlin Armagos.
I didn't know you changed it.
Yeah, it's changed now because I got some emails from people back and said, Miss Amanda Gremlin Armagos, because I'm sending that official thing to head of states, head of university, and so on, and you are copied and say Amanda Gremlin. So I changed that. Yes. Yeah. But she turns into Gremlin, so no outer space for you.
I would not sign up.
And you couldn't go without your pet.
Well, no, and imagine me and all of that when I threw up on the airplane. I could not be in outer space at all. Just to take off, I'd be crying. Can I get out?
Get out! I'm gonna get out!
Do you guys bring brownies?
And then imagine taking little Lily and your psychopathic cat. Your psychopathic cat.
Yeah, they'd be like, we have to make a stop. Where's the closest planet? These guys are leaving.
Okay, young people, close your ears.
Oh God.
Her dog humping the cat, both are females. Can you imagine them in outer space? Lily's humping Jimmy and Jimmy saying, "Wah!"
That's not true.
What?
Then my pets don't do that.
I mean, I've been few times in some of the parties. They don't mind, even if people are visiting. I mean, they're just
Kitchen.
in the middle of the kitchen, yeah, and everybody's just like shocked, like, what happened? What's happening? Can you imagine that in the outer space? Okay, well, that's enough for today.
Thank you guys for watching. We talked about outer space, and I'm Amanda Armagast.
And I'm Dr. Abbasi for Essence. Welcome to Outer Space Podcast.
Have a good weekend.